Jeffry for lunch here with Let's Read the Jeffry. Let's just get on with it. Part 2, Chapter 3 and a bit of Chapter 4. As you probably know, it is Chapter 3. Just like I need to check where I'm reading up to and where I'm going to read tomorrow. Got it. Okay. Chapter 3, Part 2, Welcome to Dictionopolis. Milo acknowledged the introduction and, as Doc growled softly, the minister explained, "We are the king's advisers, or in more formal terms, his cabinet." Cabinet, recited the Duke. 1. A small private room or closet, case with drawers, etc., for keeping valuables or displaying curiosities. 2. Council room for chief ministers of state. 3. A body of official advisers to the chief executive of a nation. You see, continued the minister, bowing thankfully to the Duke, Dictionopolis is the place where all the words in the world come from. They're grown right here in our orchards. I didn't know that words grew on trees, said Milo timidly. Where did you think they grew? Shouted the Earl irritably. A small crowd began to gather to see the little boy who didn't know that letters grew on trees. I didn't know they grew at all, admitted Milo even more timidly. Several people shook their heads sadly. Well, money doesn't grow on trees, does it? Demanded the Count. I've heard not, said Milo. Then something must. Why not words? Exclaimed the Under-Secretary triumphantly. The crowd cheered his display of logic and continued with its business. To continue, continued the minister impatiently, once a week by royal proclamation the word market is held here in the great square, and people come from everywhere to buy the words they need to or trade in the words they haven't used. Our job, said the Count, is to see that all the words sold are proper ones, for it wouldn't do to sell someone a word that had no meaning or didn't exist at all. For instance, if you bought a word like ghalbtsk, where would you use it? It would be difficult, thought Milo, but there were so many words that were difficult, and he knew hardly any of them. But we never choose which ones to use, explained the Earl, as they walked towards the market. For as long as they mean what they mean to mean, we don't care if they make sense or nonsense. In a sense of magnificence, added the Count. Written sense or common sense, said the Under-Secretary. That seems simple enough, said Milo, trying to be polite. Easy as falling off a log, cried the Earl, falling off a log with a loud thump. Must you be so clumsy, shouted the Duke. All I said was, began the Earl, rubbing his head. We heard you, said the minister angrily, and you'll have to find an expression that's less dangerous. The Earl dusted himself as the others snickered audibly. You see, continued the Count, you must pick your words very carefully, and be sure to say just what you intend to say. And now we must leave to make preparation to the royal banquet. You'll be there, of course, said the minister. But before Milo had a chance to say anything, they were rushing off across the square as fast as they could. They had come. Enjoy yourselves in the market, shouted back the Under-Secretary. Market, recited the Duke, an open space or covered building in which... And that was the last Milo heard as they disappeared into the ground. I never knew words could be so confusing, said Milo said, to Tock as he bent down to scratch his dog's ear. Only when you say a lot to say a little. When you use a lot to say a little, answered Tock. Milo thought this was quite the wisest thing he'd heard all day. Come on, he shouted. Let's see the market. It looks very exciting. Chapter 4. Confusion in the market. Indeed it was, for as they approached, Milo could see crowds of people pushing and shouting their way amongst the stall, buying and selling, trading and bargaining, huge wooden-wheeled carts streaming into the market square from the orchards, and long caravans bound for the four open corners of the kingdom, made ready to leave. Sacks and boxes were piled high, waiting to be delivered to the ships that sailed the Sea of Knowledge, and off to one side a group of minstrels sang songs to their delight, of those too young or too old to engage in trade. But above all the noise and tumult of the crowds that could be heard the merchant's voice loudly advertising their products. Get your freshly picked ifs and buts. Hey-ya, 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 nice, ripe wares and whens. Juicy, tempting words for sale. So many words and so many people. They were from every place imaginable, and some places even beyond that, and they were all so busy sorting, choosing, and stuffing things into the cases. As soon as one was filled, another was begun. There seemed to be no end to the bustle and activity. Join in tomorrow as we finish chapter 4 and continue with chapter 5.